Well, good morning, folks. This is Tim Ealer. Hope you're all doing well this morning. Today's the 17th of November 2025. Getting a little bit of a late start today. So, what you're seeing on the screen here is a model loop of the 850 millibar temperatures associated with the GFS Ensemble model, right? And been a lot of talk about a cold air push um, along the East Coast in the coming days and to the West. I would say confidence is relatively high that we're going to get a push into the West here of colder air in the long term, um, in the mid to long range, right? But whether it pushes to the East or not as much is questionable at this point. Let me stop this loop real quick. So we have the European global model here, right? And we have this is the 2 meter temperatures. This is 850 millibar, which is a good proxy for temps at the surface of the European ensemble. And then this is the GFS ensemble. They're all in pretty good agreement at this point. I'm going to take the temperature anomalies off. I had to resize this. So this is the 850 millibar temperature anomaly represented represented by the global GFS and the global European model as of, let's go back to 27 November, which is around Thanksgiving, right? So GFS and Euro, pretty good agreement here this far out, right? And this is a 00Z run today. Latest run. We go EPS European. You can see the colder temps, 850 millibars, below average, pushing to the east here. Right, you can see the differences at this point between the GFS and the Euro, right? And if we go back a little bit, they're in pretty good agreement up till this point. Well, the GFS is cooler, and it has a notable cold bias that we all know about, right? And you move further in time, see the GFS is pushing the cold air further east, and the Euro keeps it further west. So, given this is 11 days out, still a lot of time to evaluate this, right? But what do we look at in the short term? All right. We know cold air is up in the northeast right now. You can see the lighter colors up there, purples, white. But you can see the dark colors here, right? Indicative of colder temps at 850 and at the surface. So we're talking anomalies 8, 10, 11, 12 degrees Celsius. See the maximum 12.5 Celsius above normal, which in Fahrenheit that's even more, right? So that translates to warmer temperatures at the surface, right? We get 72 hours out. You have another low coming into the west coast here. Warm temps for a good portion of the nation, right? warm temps move eastward. You have another cold push along the northeast, right up here. In the west here. See this really strong 850 millibar height rises, anomalies around 10-11 Celsius around the 22nd November. Moving further north here. Well, further out in time, excuse me. The euro is definitely more bullish, hanging on to the warmer temps, right? But they all both agree that it's going to be relatively warm for most of the nation, and that was what we saw in the climate outlook yesterday. And this is where the models start diverging a little further out. So see the GFS much colder and further east. The euro, cold air stays bottled up into the west there, right? Modifies. And don't get me wrong, it's going to be cold up in these areas, colder than normal, right? And into the northeast. Near average. My drawing ain't that great this morning, but and maybe above average here in the south. Now, all this is subject to change still, guys. So, I wanted to go over this, but let's just go back to the short term again. All right. So, the general consensus is warm for most of the nation in the short term to midterm, the mid range, right? Cold air pushing into the west. We almost certain this is going to happen at this point, I think. This is 10 days out. How strong will be is another thing, but that's looks pretty solid there. So I would stop there, and we come back to that in a day or two and see how we're doing. Whether the models are in better agreement, when we get to 7 days out, then it'll be better. Better agreement, I'm sure. As we get closer, it'll be better agreement as well. So. All right, so far as rainfall, the radar here, we have the temps, current temps. With the radar here, we have some moisture in the central part of the country along the west coast. Heavy rainfall going on right now. And then the northeast as well. We switch this to temperatures real quickly. Excuse me. We got some snow probably up here in the northeast. Lake effect snow probably going on right now, and rainfall otherwise here. Maybe some snow in the Mountain West. Let's switch this radar. Yeah, we got snow up here. Luckily cold enough for snow up here, guys, so that's pretty cool. Snowing off the lakes here. Not pretty heavy snow, actually. So maybe some rainfall as well. Right? Yeah, we got snow pretty much from that area. Yeah. Out here in the west, in Colorado, Wyoming, mostly rain. Interestingly enough, maybe some snow in the mountains. You can see here on the west coast, where we have the most rain going on right now. That system will generally shift to the south. Oops. and bring some more moisture to the south, Southern California, today and tomorrow. As far as current hazards go, we have winter storm warnings, winter weather advisory up here in the Northeast, dense fog advisory down here along the Gulf Coast, some winter weather advisories out in the Intermountain West, some other wind advisories here. Winter storm warning looks like out west here, and winter weather advisory in the California mountains, as well as a flood watch and wind advisory right along the coast of California there. Current temps, we looked at that already, but see generally where it's the coldest today. It's cooled off a little bit to, this morning in the south, but the Texas is quite warm right now, 70s this morning. Overall, not that cold. Kind of cold up here in Canada, but in general, that's gonna remain in this area as our system moves out. Right, trough remains over the east for a little while. Temperatures compared to yesterday, you see where it's colder than it was yesterday. 30 degrees colder, really, all along the east. Low Mississippi Valley, mid Mississippi Valley, Ohio Valley, warmer than it was yesterday in the middle part of the country, and cooler out west. So, dry cold front moved through yesterday here in this area, associated with this low pressure here, went off the coast, right? So, current cloud cover. Obviously, we have clouds up here in the northeast. Some clouds down here in the south, deep south, likely keeping temperatures up, and a lot of cloud cover here out west associated with these systems right now. So, yeah. Wind gusts, current wind gusts, still quite windy here in the northeast along the coastal California, Intermountain West, in the front range here into Texas. The highest wind, of course, are onshore here in California and right offshore, and in the mountains, Appalachian Mountains, and here into the extreme northeast United States. Observed snowfall in the past 72 hours. You see where the most snow has been, up here in the northeast. The Great Lakes, of course, lake effect favorite areas, and into the west here. Central part of the country has really been missing out, but that may change in the coming days. We'll just have to see. So, let's see. So, what are we looking at the surface here? I'm moving this on pretty slow. You see the surface low out west here. You have another surface low developing here in the east. I mean, the middle part of the country. Sorry, this moves to the north. Maybe some overrunning precip associated with it, but not overall very strong. Right? Let's stop it here. Boundary setting up in the middle part of the country. Maybe some snow and ice on the north here, but overall, not that impressive, right? You have another low pressure develop along the west coast here, likely to weaken as system moves generally this way. Let's start this again. You can see where the boundary is here. There's a boundary between cold and warm air. Overall, not that impressive. You have a bunch of different little lows here, but overall quite warm, right? And no snowfall really. You can see some colder air wanting to push down this way. Maybe a northern stream system trying to push through. Then you get this system here in the middle part of the U.S. getting going on the you get cyclogenesis off the Rockies. Yes, maybe some frozen precip here. This is 4 a.m. on the 21st. All right, let's speed this up a little bit. Actually, I'm just going to walk it through. So, repeated rounds of rainfall moving forth through the central part of the country, right? Along this, where this boundary setting up between some colder air and warmer air. You have another low off the coast here. Right, cold air is still bottled up. You have some moisture maybe coming along the west coast there, northwest coast. System moves offshore and along the mid-Atlantic. You see what we got going on here. We got another surface low developing down here in the Texas. And this is pretty far out, guys, but we're approaching Thanksgiving time. Really weakens quite a bit again. Now, this is pretty aggressive coming from the European. All right, and this is around Thanksgiving time. Right, so yeah, very dynamic and strong system. At least according to this model run developing, right? Wow. You see how on the western side of this system, you could really western or northern side because you have your colder air coming down here. Strong high pressure trying to nose down, right? You see the cold front is really strung out here, guys. So it's probably generally in this area, maybe here. Okay. More likely in that area. Right. Let's just, for comparison's sake, let's look at the GFS too. It's much more progressive, right? And we kind of showed that a little bit on the other comparison, right? Climate forecast system is more aggressive as well. See how much more aggressive it really wants to develop this. I'm gonna go back and take this to the GFS just for comparison to see what it's doing here. Right, and go back to the forecast. All right, so moving through time here. Yeah, it definitely has a different evolution of this system. Much colder and further to the north. See, it doesn't really, it kind of wants to develop a low up in here instead along the front range. Um, so there's quite a bit of uncertainty about this, but definitely trending colder for all the models here and snowier right on the western side. Just depends where the low sets up, where the trough sets up, all that. But I think one thing is certain for people on the east. Wow, get further out here. Quite another powerful system on the heels of that other one with the GFS, right, pushing through, right? So we'll have to see how that plays out. We switch back to the Euro. I'm sure that it doesn't show that. Well, yeah, it does show something pushing through, but it's further to the north. Looks like very strong here. Moves to the north. Go back to the GFS again. Yeah, it wants to move one system through and make it really strong, and then wants to develop another one. Whereas the European really only has one major system moving through, right? That's it. So we'll have to see. That's pretty far out, guys. So yeah. Um, next, we're going to go over excessive rainfall outlook, severe weather outlook, and that'll be it for today. As far as severe weather goes, there's a gnat or something on my screen here. You just got general thunderstorms for the next 3 days. No severe areas yet. As far as a little further out, I think there's a possibility there, given the dynamics moving forward, but still a lot of uncertainty there. So let's go to the excessive rainfall. We have a slight risk along the west coast here with a marginal risk surrounding it. Day 2, marginal risk moves further to the east. And then you have that bullseye here into Texas and the deep south, right? Oklahoma, right, area. This is where it gets more interesting here, where we got heavy rain expected in this area, right? And then it moves a little further east as they get stretched out. So now let's just look at real quickly on the fly here, total precip amounts. All right, this is 7-day precip ending Monday, November 24th, 7 days from now. Most precip expected generally in northwest, northeastern Texas, to eastern Texas, up into the lower Mississippi Valley. And poor Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, dry as a bone. And you know, I want to show you this graphic real quick. 1 second here. So yeah, there's a fire danger statement for today for north and central Georgia for our local area. Relative humidity less than 25% this afternoon and evening. Now that's dry for around here, guys. So do not burn outside today, please, because any little spark or fire could really be a big problem here, guys. So please don't do that. All right. So the day 8 to 14 hazards outlook still highlighting. Released yesterday at 3 p.m. highlighting this area for flooding possible. Excuse me. Sorry. Precip, slight risks of excessive heavy precip here. Excuse me. Around the dotted lines. We talked about this for quite a while now. It's been highlighted for quite a few days here. The 24th to the 28th. Heavy snow looking like more of a possibility here with that system, the 24th to the 30th. Slight risk out west here and moving further to the north here. And this highlights the uncertainty between the model runs. I tend to side with the Euro on what it's saying. So, yeah, we could have a powerful Midwest storm around Thanksgiving. So we'll see. I know I said that I was going to stop the video, but I wanted to show this as well. Slight risk of high winds for most of the nation except for the southeast. You know, we're really feeling the effects of La Nina right now. We really could use the rain down here, guys. Temperatures, risk of hazardous. So I have risk of hazardous temperatures here. And yeah, this is a 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. We also have, you know, what we talked about, warmer to the east of the Rockies, right? Cooler or near normal temperatures expected west of the Rockies. See where the bullseye is for the highest precip amounts, right? In Texas. I don't know, you know, the southeast is just, I know I talk about the southeast a lot, but that's where I live, you know, so higher than normal precip chances for most of the U.S., with the exception right along the west coast there. Probabilities of warmer than normal temps move a little further eastward, and you see to the west here where that cold air is spilling in, all right? The middle part of the country really stays above normal precip chances, right? On the west and east coast, less likely to have above normal precip occurring, right? So, one thing I wanted to show y'all real quickly, there's been a lot of talk about the stratospheric warming here. So these are the layers of the atmosphere, and I'll go over this more when I have more time, but thermosphere, the highest levels, the atmosphere. You got your mesopause, which is a boundary between the two, mesosphere, stratosphere, and the tropopause and the troposphere. The troposphere is where our sensible weather impacts are, right? But the stratosphere, you see how the stratosphere warms with height, right? It's kind of interesting how it cools and then warms with height. And it has to do with greenhouse gases, things like that. But